My name is Haziq Asman, your mediator for today, and you can call me Mr. Haziq. Before I begin the session, I would like to thank Mr. Jack and Mr. Matt, along with...
Hi, Mr. Haziq. My name is Ruby, and I am Matt's sister.
All right. So I thank you for your time, and I wish to apologize for the inconvenience caused by conducting this session virtually, since I'm still undergoing my home surveillance due to COVID. But nevertheless, I hope it does not in any form curb the outcome of our mediation session today. First and foremost, I'd like to commend and congratulate all of you for coming here today in an effort to work on your concerns together. But before that, can Mr. Jack, okay, you've muted yourself. Moving on, I'd like to commend and congratulate all of you for coming here today in an effort to work on your concerns together. This goes to show that the form of solution can be sought regardless of the conundrum. And on that note, allow me to brief all of you regarding myself in respect of being a mediator. And for your information, I've been a mediator for the AIC for the past 5 years now. And I also have mediated over 350 cases since 2017. And now I am serving as a full-time independent mediator and arbitrator at the AIC. So my qualification experience is undisputable on this matter. So no worries on that. And further, I shall elaborate my roles today's session. Firstly, I will only play a facilitative role in this proceeding, and I am responsible for maintaining safety and also encouraging communication between all of you here today. My role is to preside over this meeting and to allow you to discuss and communicate your differences in an amicable manner. And soft reminder to all of you, I shall reserve from making any recommendation, nor would I have provide my own personal opinion. I shall only provide guidance, as I've stated before. Henceforth, I hope that all of you will communicate your needs and concerns openly. In addition to that, my role is also to provide guidance via questions and comments in the name of finding a common ground between all of you, and also to arrive at a mutually agreeable conclusion on your own without my input as to what will be a viable solution. And it is also important to note that throughout these proceedings, I will remain impartial to the outcome of your dispute. I am neither the court or an arbitrator who shall direct or make an order or any judgment, and merely provide guidance to all of you to achieve a mutual solution to resolve your disputes. And parties may withdraw at any stage of the process if you wish, since this process is wholly voluntary in nature. And I believe that all of you here are present with your own voluntariness without any coercion or thing. With respect to the confidentiality clause, and let me assure you that this meeting shall be confidential and shall remain such way throughout this proceeding and even after the matter is concluded. But this can be waived only if the parties agrees to it. Nevertheless, I would like to remind all of you that in the very rare occasions, the confidentiality of this matter can also be waived should I am compelled to testify in the criminal proceedings or to give evidence when there is any investigation of criminal offences. But as such, I hope the three of you have signed the confidentiality agreement. And if not, you may do so now. No problem on that. Now, I'm going to walk you through the key steps of the process one by one. First, each parties, Mr. Jack and Mr. Matt, will have some time to present their opening statement and communicate to the other side what they desire or what they want, along with your reasoning. After that, I shall make a summary to highlight each party's interests to identify the amicable solution that is favorable to the parties. And we will work out an agenda after that, and I shall assist you to resolve your issues based upon your interests. And moreover, I shall also provide you with possible options for you to consider or help you with further discussion and negotiation, as I've spoken before. And finally, we shall attempt to reach an agreeable solution or an agreement, and such decision shall be recorded. And should you wish to form a binding contract to enforce the agreement, you may discuss this with your own lawyer. And after the agreement has been reached, I shall present to all of you, my closing statement at the termination of the mediation. So without further ado, if there are no more questions at this point, let us begin with Mr. Jack. So please tell us your story, Mr. Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Haziq. Alright, for the introduction, my name is Che and I am the resident of Taman Raja Udang at number 29 and I have lived here for about 15 years. And 10 years ago, I had planted a tree in my yard with the intention of improving our air quality. However, when Matt decided to move in, I received a lot of complaints from their family, and they even suggest to me that they wanted to cut down the trees. So that's why we are here, and we seek to find a solution based on this problem. Yeah.
I only know Jack is my neighbor a week after I moved into my house, and I've never met him before. So a few days after I moved into my current house, I found a row of palm tree has grown on the borderline between Jack's house and my house. I feel annoyed with the existence of that tree because it has caused us several problems, such as the dried leaf falls into my yard and I need to sweep all the dry leaf every day, or otherwise it will become a place for dangerous animals to breed, such as snakes and rats. Moreover, the dried leaf also clog my drain. Therefore, every day my family members need to clean up the clogged drain to ensure that the drainage system is functioning well. The tree blocked the light from the sun, which my plant was entitled to. Therefore, today I wish to cut down all the trees, but during that time, Jack has stopped me from doing that.
Like to add on some points. The branches of the tree have caused so much trouble to me too. And literally every morning, I need to clean the fallen branch from the tree and dry leaf on my car before I go to work. There is one time where the fallen branch is kind of a big one and has scratched my car. And this is not something that I can tolerate anymore. And not just that, I also need to clean up the bird droppings on my car every day, since a tree that big will always be a place for birds to perch. And I have no other place to park my car since we have one car parked in the garage. So I have to park mine in the yard where the tree is. And I hope we can settle this problem as it has become a nuisance to me and also to my family.
But Mr. Haziq, before you move on, I would like to add a little bit of explanation on why, as to why I want to keep this tree. First of all, I have invested almost 5,000 ringgit to plant this tree, and it requires a lot of time, energy, and money to keep this tree alive. Second, the tree serves as a gathering spot for me and the kids to play. After a long day and after I had finished my job for the day, we would sit beneath the tree and engage in various activities such as painting, and we will have our afternoon tea there. So after a long day of work in a stressful environment, that is the only method that I know on how to relieve my stress. So it is really important for me. And the third point is the tree, as we all know, produce a lot of oxygen and remove air pollution as it filter our air. So it contributes to the residents' cleaner air, and because of our frequent open burning by the neighbors and an abundance of vehicles that exhaust pollutant, the air in our area was not as clean at 10 years ago as now. So I do not want my kid to grow up in an environment where it is polluted. And I have strong intention to help to minimize the air pollution in this area and throughout the world. Lastly, I really do not wish for the tree to be cut down. Mr. Haziq, that is all from me.
I understand that both of you, including Miss Ruby, has what do you call that again? Reasonable interest or reasonable. If I may point out the interest of the parties here, Jack, you wanted a better air quality, and you have invested a lot of money there, specifically 5,000 ringgit to build the tree. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
And you also believes that that tree spot is a place for you to gather with your children, right?
Yeah, that is true.
And in the name of contributing a cleaner air, you planted the plant also, right? You planted the trees also, right?
Yeah.
And also, it's a point for you to relieve your stress, and also that for Matt, you've never met Jack before,
Yes, until I move into my house, my
so
current house.
this is just a recent occurrence. I mean, this happened recently, is it?
Yes, yes.
So you moved in to your houses, and then after a while, you became agitated with the trees. Then you went to this mediation session. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
How long was that since
Mm,
the first time you moved in?
since maybe around 9 months from
9 months. See. So you are annoyed with Jake, or you are annoyed with the trees?
both.
Both. I see. All right. So you are annoyed with the Jake and also the dry leaves that fills your car porch and your houses and your place. Am I right?
Yes.
And they are clogging your drains and damages to your swimming pool. I believe you have a big house there.
Yes.
It also, the existence of the tree also affects the bird dropping. I can't recall that. Can you clarify more on that?
Yeah, yeah.
The bird's poop.
Oh my God,
I thought it was the
yes.
bird dropping on your car.
No,
Okay, so I think I've highlighted your interests, both parties' interests, also summarized so that we can see one by one what is actually the problem here. Now, let us move on to how we can find a common ground or an amicable solution between parties. We can find two or one solution, so parties, you may negotiate on this matter.
If I may suggest, maybe we can cut down half of the trees on that road.
Are you crazy? That should not be in the suggestion at all. You cannot cut down half of the trees just like that.
But your tree has interrupted my personal space and caused a nuisance to me and my family. I'm the one who was injured in this case. I should sue you, and I should not proceed with this mediation.
Should not be the suggestion. It will die. It will die if you cut down half of the trees. Okay.
All right, which should not be this way. So in any event, can Mr. Matt provide any other solution other than cutting down the whole of the trees or half of the trees? Jack's concern is that it will remove wholly the trees, and I think
I can suggest a second solution. I suggest that maybe Jack can trim the branch which has entered into my yard and clean up the dried leaf every week.
Me every week. Me, there's no way I can do that. I am a very busy person as I am a doctor and I have lots of work. I always have to go outstation every week, and I don't think that is really the solution that we can proceed with.
Thus, maybe both of us can hire a gardener as a tree keeper.
Can you explain more about that?
So for the tree keeper, we will hire a gardener as a tree keeper. This tree keeper is responsible for cutting and removing any branches of the tree which overhang into my land, provided that the tree is no vegetation protection order to protect the tree. So a tree keeper also must ensure that the tree does not cause serious injury to my land, serious damage to my property, and unreasonably interfere with my use and enjoyment of the land.
I actually kind of agree with that idea, as I have heard about the role of tree keepers in settling the dispute between neighbors, such as our dispute right now, especially related to the issue of overhang branches from tree in Australia and the United Kingdom. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you have heard about that. If we agree to hire a tree keeper, I can give a tree keeper 7 days a written notice to cut down and remove the overhanging branches at your cost.
Yes, I agree with that idea, but can I suggest for us to pay the cost of the tree keeper together?
I'm sorry, but I cannot find any reason on why I should pay for the maintenance of your tree. I did not get any benefit from your tree, and why do I need to pay for it?
tree has given you some of the advantage, such as it has blocked you from the heat from the sun in the evening. So you cannot say my tree did not give any advantage to you. And I also seen your kids play under its shadow every evening. So it is unfair for me to pay for the cost of the tree keeper alone.
Okay. I agree if I need to pay only 10% from the cost of tree keepers every month.
No, 10% is too little. How about 20%?
Okay, 20% or I will not pay for anything.
Okay.
I only pay for 20% from that cost.
All right, I agree with the 20%.
I believe that from your spirited discussion, you guys have proposed a few arrangements or few solutions. And the one that has been proposed, the third one that has been proposed by Mr. Matt, which is for all of you to hire a tree keeper to maintain. And secondly, with respect to hiring a special person to manage the trees, we are talking about cost. And I think you guys have also agreed on the cost itself. Who will be paying 20%?
I will be paying 20% from the cost.
So Mr. Jack will be paying 80%. Are you okay with
Yes.
that, Mr. Jack?
Yeah.
Do you think that so you parties believe that this is an amicable solution for both?
Yes.
Can I ask something, Mr. Haziq?
Yes, please, Ms. Ruby.
Okay, so by the solution stated by Jack and Matt, I just want to be clear whether my problem, such as the birds dropping and stuff, can be settled by hiring the gardener.
I think both parties must address on your concerns as well.
Maybe in the agreements, when we appoint any gardener or tree keeper, we can include its services not only to trim the branches, but also to clean the bird's poppy.
If that's so, then I don't have any problems with the solution that have been achieved by both parties.
All right. Nevertheless, I believe that by incurring another extra work for the tree keeper, then it may lead to another increment to the cost. Are the parties still agreeable with the 20%, also 80% division?
As for me, I agree with to pay only 20%.
How
Yes, I
about
also
Mr. Jack? Right. So regardless of the increment, regardless of the additional work that the tree maker has to do, and knowing that it will lead to an increment of the cost, the parties are well aware are still agreeable to the division of cost. All right. So if I may summarize the outcome of, is there anything else before I proceed, Ms. Ruby, Mr. Matt, Mr. Jack?
No, I'm okay with the solutions.
Okay. All right. I see. Thus, if I may summarize the outcome of our meeting, we have agreed that both parties shall hire a tree keeper, and both parties shall bear the cost of hiring the tree keeper. Mr. Jack shall pay 80%, and Mr. Mac shall pay 20%. And in addition to that, the tree keeper shall also address the concern raised by Ms. Ruby, which is Mr. Mac's sister. But that should be no problem. And regardless of the increment and the additional work that the tree keeper has to do, the increment and knowing that there will be an increment of the cost, both parties are still agreeable to the division of a percentage of paying the tree keeper. Okay. Do you have any objection to the proposed settlement?
No.
Okay. Mr. Jack?
also a no from me.
I presume Ms. Ruby has nothing to say as well?
Yes, I have nothing to say.
Very well. With that, we can proceed with the written agreement. So I thank you for your time and cooperation throughout this session. And